I can't believe it, man. I'm still in shock. Type Moon has come through with a wave that will be remembered until the end of times, man. They know exactly what to do. They know what the people want. They said, come one, come all. You want MiHoYo characters? We got you. And they pretty much gave us everybody. We got Aoko. We got Alice. We got Sojiro. Mr. Hands-On himself. It can't get any better than this, can it? Well, it can. We still need Toko, but I'm not mad at what we got. They really hit it out the park. Everybody looks good. The Phantasms look good. The Ascensions look unreal. And what I wanted to do was go through some of the profiles to see what they came up with while bringing these characters into FGO. So we'll start off with Aoko. There are allegedly only 5 magicians in the world, and she is the latest and lowest ranked of them. This formerly normal high schooler lived her life uninvolved with the world of magecraft until middle school. This changed one day when she was suddenly arranged to inherit her grandfather's legacy. She's been at face mercy every single day, but her courageous and strongly competitive personality proved fortunate, allowing her to live a free and enjoyable magician life. And see, that's the thing about Aoko, right? And what people will come to understand is that canonically, she will be the forefront of that strong female protagonist. Because again, MiHoYo takes place in the 80s. So that predates Fate. That predates Tsukihime, that predates Karo no Kyokai. This is way back when. And despite the fact that she ended up getting the 5th magic bestowed to her, this still ended up being something that was last minute, and she had to work her way up to a certain point with her own merits, regardless of what she got from her family or not. So you can never really take that away from her. And it shows, right? It's not like after she got the magic, she just got lazy. No, she continued to progress, and she continued to refine the abilities that she had. So the same way that Ren's mental was saved by having Shuro come into her life, you can say that Aoko's mental was saved by having Alice and Sojiro all the same. The 3 of them always had some type of banter going on. I don't care what it is, especially Alice, considering how reserved she is as a witch, as opposed to somebody like Sojiro who's just getting by. So he's not as familiar with formality and etiquette, or just people giving him a hard time just for the sake of doing so. And I think Alice showed him a lot of that. It tells us that Aoko is 5'3", not as tall as some of the other people that we have, but definitely not short either. She sits somewhere right in the middle, a caring woman who sticks to her beliefs to the bitter end, a girl who looks special but can be found anywhere. You get into Bond 2, the second daughter of the Aozakis, a family of unorthodox mages in Masaki City. Since her sister was arranged to be their heir, she spent her life without magecraft until she was the age of 15. Aoko had no problems with her position, feeling lucky that all the difficult stuff was shoved at her sister's side. Although she was raised in a warm household with caring parents, since she was close to her magician grandfather, she knew a mage's philosophies if nothing else. During Aoko's second year of middle school, her sister went missing. So when she was entering high school, she was declared the heir of the Aozaki's magic and sent to live in the house of the daughter of the Kuonjis, aka Alice, a family that was close friends with the Aozakis. She butted heads with Alice multiple times, but after many twists and turns, they became partners. During her process of learning basic mage skills under Alice's tutelage, her grandfather had already drilled the philosophies into her, so Alice was not involved in that part. The two repelled any underhanded mages trying to steal the lands they controlled. She served as student council president at her high school and was tasked with looking after the recently transferred Sojiro, giving her daily headaches. Right. In the same way that I mentioned before with the dynamic between Shuro and Ren, how Ren tried to quote unquote take out Shuro when they first met up with each other. Well, you have the same thing here happening with Alice and Aoko before they finally became friends. Alice was initially trying to gut Aoko. That was the whole mission, and she ended up changing her mind. The difference between the two series, I feel like, is that Ren is putting on a mask. So given what we've seen with the series, it's highly unlikely likely that she's gonna go all out against Shiro in particular. But Alice was a different story. Being a witch, she didn't hold those same type of values. Those values had to be instilled in her. We've already been through what Burrow did to his mother, and he's a witch. There's a lot of them that could care less. That's just the foundation of who they are. Rin, on the other hand, did care, but she suppressed her emotions for so long that it kind of put her in a state of limbo where she would autopilot this mage lifestyle because she felt like she had to do so. She felt like she owed herself that, and she felt like she owed her pops that. Yeah, Aoko being student council president kind of got her a bad rep off the start because it put her in a position where people were constantly asking her for this, looking to her for that. It is a busy position, but at the same time, when the Aozaki aspect came into the equation, then things got a lot more complicated at the house. And so it really made Aoko look away when she's focused on things going on at home, where it seems like she's just doing a brush off when she's really just trying to lock in. And so here Sojiro comes and she's looking at it like, I really have to deal with this dude? Me? Really? But come to find, this is exactly what she needs. Same thing with Alice and her teaching her the ropes of magecraft. So for Aoko, somebody that's walking through the door, there would be no better person to meet than Alice. Again, that same stay night dynamic where you have Aoko doing these trial and errors and you have Alice telling her, this is how it usually goes for me. At Bond 3, she's logical and overbearing, a tyrannically good-natured woman who strives for perfection in everything she does. The cold type of hero of justice who appreciates the strong and is fed up with the weak but can't bring herself to forsake them. She's cheerful and humorous but very thorough when she gets serious, merciless. Although she views good sense and social etiquette as the correct rules of society, now that she's a mage, she has to commit to their morals, so what she uses for her personal choices follows a case-by-case basis. Aoko weighs both on a scale and picks what she gives more relative importance. In general, she tries to prioritize her life choices over the choices of others. Keyword, tries. I really like how they frame that. If she could actually do it, she'd have already been welcomed into the group by the other magicians. She's very curious, to the point that she's always trying to pick up on details on other people's conversations and actions. Even when she's not interested, she will listen. She's generally a good listener no matter who is talking. Perhaps due to her iron wall personality, she's not good at probing others' vulnerabilities. She's very fettered to logic and reason, with the tendency to overcomplicate her thoughts. But ultimately, she does what she believes is right. Somebody once told her that everything she does unintentionally becomes a benefit to the world and its people. Words that didn't come off as a quip or a compliment, but she treasured it as a minor source of pride. Now, this magician thing, as far as them not letting her into the group, seems to be a new perspective. The 5 magicians never really had any type of hierarchy in a sense. It was always, they just exist above most entities and especially magecraft. But now it's framing it in a way where Aoko is at the bottom of the barrel, naturally because she is the most recent one. But I find it funny that they're now treating this as a they're in, she's out the loop thing, which kind of goes against what Aoko stands for, especially when it comes to honing her craft. If anything, she wants to be in when it comes to concerning this. Really want to see them build upon that. You get into the next bond and we have some of her skills. Now I've seen some of these skills. They're looking really good once you get past the first ones, of course. So we got territory creation E rank. She can't keep a satisfactory workshop or a penny in her bank account. And this is hilarious that they're still keeping this going even all the way into FGO, how her and Toko are tight with money and there always seems to be a debt that's waiting for them around the corner. And to take this a step further, it really ties into who she is because that's a part of her power too, right? What is she doing when she harnesses the 5th magic? She's creating a debt and putting it elsewhere, which is literally the same thing that she was going through as a character to begin with. Listen, the man is gonna get his. You can't run from it. Any dime that you make, them people gonna be looking through your window talking about, now you know you gotta pay taxes on that. Damn, motherfucker, I just got the shit. That's a fact. The only time that's not the case is when your finances are coming from places that we will not speak of. She's got item crafting, life hack, nab anything you need from your sister. And this is just another nod to Aoko taking things right from under Toko's nose, like the Mystic Eye Killers that she later gave to Shiki. It's on point. She's got Magician, one of the very few still existing magicians. She has resistances against magical energy, fate, insta-death by fate, time, and purge. That's a lot. And that's only average. And due to her connection, she already has resistances that people would spend a lifetime for, and sometimes still not get it. Magical Bullet Expansion EX, a skill that only manifests after Aoko uses her Noble Phantasm and transforms. So that would be her super form. Magic Circuits Rotation, special magical circuits that enable her to demonstrate fifth magic. They never run out of magical energy, considered one of the factors necessary to depart the planet. Magical Bullet Loading B, simple magecraft that utilizes the magical energy generated within her body as bullets. For most forms of magecraft, Aoko is average or below, but when it comes to magical bullets, she's unsurpassable in terms of speed, precision, and destructive force. The magical bullet champion of the world of magecraft. So this is just a statement to come out and say her ganders, her magical bullets can be rivaled, which makes sense. I mean, her main move is basically a magical cannon. Yusuke would be proud, I kid you not. Once again, in this age EX, the magic of youth, a powerful mental buff fueled by the wishes, hopes, and dreams everyone had in their infancy. Adds protagonist status to one member of the party. What the fuck? Yo, she really has the protagonist power. She really has protagonist EX. Nah, Nasu is funny. Yo, we always joke around about people having protagonist EX, harem EX. She actually has a skill, but this time it's not ironic. As always, the jokes are the real lore. When used on herself, it causes an "it's coming back to me" moment. And when used on others, it makes her a sensei that points lost boys and girls to their future. They gotta stop. Then getting into Bond 5, life outside the domain. She's not a life form from another planet, but a star that rotates in the opposite direction, follows her around, and she doesn't know what she did to accomplish that. Magic Circuits Rotation, a skill that manifests when she becomes Super Aoko, that being her actual transformation. The Magic Circuits Rotation skill she had pre-transformation turns into a passive. It has lost a bit of output. So now it's something that doesn't even have to be activated. It's just there, but slightly suppressed. It just becomes a natural thing. Magic Circuits Revolution EX, superhuman magic circuits said to manifest only after she demonstrates the fifth magic. They generate colossal amounts of magical energy, but others are completely incapable of comprehending what kind of spell made them like that and what theoretical basis they came from. Aoko herself is just as clueless. Meanwhile, Zelrech, the user of the second magic, figured out the gist of it on his first glance at Super Aoko. Are they doing tricks on it, or am I tripping? Because I swear Zelrech is like nearly 3,000 years old. I hope he can do that. Meanwhile, Aoko hasn't even broken the barrier of a standard life expectancy, let alone being on the planet for all that time. So I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to show the magnitude, but it's kind of silly. I mean, I guess she could steal information from the future, but I mean, who's doing that when they don't even understand the spell itself? That was some crazy lip right there. In Search of the Milky Way EX, a crafty strategy only Super Aoko can do, where she shuts out outside interference by overlapping time migrations from 0.1 seconds in the past and 0.1 seconds in the future. Grants herself invincibility, which her passive skill turns into anti-purge defense, a really dirty trick, and loads 6 magical bullets. So what I'm hearing is that she's basically, well, she already was at a point where she couldn't be conceptually understood by most, but as I recall it, this semi-authority that she's having over time, and I mean, you can see this when she's fighting against Toko and the things that are supposed to be working on her isn't doing anything. Like, she's lapsing in and out of existence because she's essentially moving in and out of space-time that fast via manipulation. So if you do and you don't exist, you kind of have to be invulnerable no in between that, which is where that would come from. Then you got her Bond CE, which features her guitar and some notes actually. The first guitar that she bought with her own money. She doesn't use it anymore, but it has a special place in her heart. When I reach a dead end, I wind down and play my favorite song. It doesn't solve anything, but at least it can reset your emotional state, right? The magician bluffed that the run from the start line was more exciting than reaching the goal. She prayed that your life never stops, giving you new encounters. It's yours now. Whenever you're done with it, come return it to me. You were about to retort that it wasn't really yours if you had to give it back later, but instead you chose to hold your tongue and proudly nod. Unreasonable demands are a magician's specialty. One more outrageous task have been added to the list of pending issues you'll have to work on in the future. Rocking with this callback, and she's even saying that she's lending it to Ritsuka just because that's how much their relationship means to her. So the guitar is a callback to a conversation that was had between Aoko and Sojiro. You know, Sojiro is so out of the loop of the mainstream world. You know, he grew up in a distant village, and so when he sees Aoko's guitar, he's thinking it's a weapon. He was like, don't tell me you use this to fight people. And he's dead serious. And Aoko's response is just as funny. She was like, you keep talking like that and I just might. Yo, she's always on this man's head all the time. It's hilarious because since he grew up this way, she can't fathom the idea of some of the things that he says or does, so she can't help but feel like she's getting trolled. It's like, you gotta be trolling me or you gotta be dumb as fuck. But there is no in between, and she just had to realize that's just how it was for him. None of that mattered. But yeah, this is one of her go-to pastimes. Whenever she finally got some leg room, she would spend hours to herself just trying to play. Going forward, and this is subject to change, I kind of want to do a deep dive on phantasms. I already have a video covering her entire phantasm in terms of the Milky Way variant. That's the 5th magic video that explains everything from front to back, something like that really. But we still need to do her Earthlight Starbow, so we will have to revisit that one. But I just want to give them their own space so we can break it down even more.